session with Vicky Hobinka. Unfortunately, she's not able to join us today, but I will be covering it anyway to continue our tradition of communicating, talking to humanitarians about different topics around transitioning. So, let me introduce. My name is Isela Monova. I'm a life coach helping humanitarians decide whether to transition or not, and basically how to transition in their mindset from survival mode to living and thriving mode. And that's what I do. So every every session and every week we have been talking to you about different topics or specific questions, I guess, to answer and also just give you a few tips of how you can actually coach yourself around it. And if you need coaching, you can of course let us know, let me know, or let Vicky Hobinka know, for sure. So today and this week's topic that we wanted to talk about, and maybe next time when Vicky comes around, she will also contribute on this topic of on this topic that I'm going to talk about. So this time I will be talking my response to what can be done about it, and the topic is work-life balance. So the question that I get a lot is that how do we make sure that we have a work-life balance? And sometimes people also say that the reason why I want to transition is because I can't seem to have a work-life balance of where I am now, and therefore I want to do something else. Absolutely. But before you jump into starting to make decisions and all, yes, I'm getting a message from Vicky saying that she's in the car, so she can't make it, and she apologizes. No problem. Coming back to the work-life balance topic. So, work-life balance, if your brain tells you that life balance, it might be indicating a few things that you want to watch out for. So it might be indicating, essentially saying that you are not in charge of your life. It might be also indicating that you would like to prioritize other things or relationships or yourself, which you are not doing now currently, right? So these are the indications of when our brains send us these coded messages of I'm not having a work-life balance. What it actually might be saying behind it is really this, that you're not feeling like you're in charge. You feel like all your work is taking up all your life, or it's becoming like the central part of your life, and you're not able to prioritize other things that you really want to prioritize. And it might also be saying that you are being attached to work in ways that maybe is not really healthy, and you want to look at it. And those attachments might be like you are using your work to feel good about something or to feel good about yourself. You using it to feel recognized, to feel fulfilled, or to create a safety or stability. Um, and therefore, if you leave your work, then you feel like you're not able to have any of those things. Therefore, you are willing to get all in on making the work everything, and everything else in your life becomes like an adjusted and flexible part of your life, right? So that's why whenever you keep asking yourself, or you are asking now this question of how can I have this work life balance, the first thing that I would love for you to contemplate around is, why are you agreeing to your current situation the way it is? I think that's a great question for anyone to contemplate about anything that bothers us, right? So if we think that something is bothering us, or if we think that this is a problem, let's ask ourselves, why are we agreeing to this? And your brain probably might say something like, well, I'm not agreeing to this. This is just how it is, right? If that's the case, then you know that you're not maybe taking a full responsibility of having or creating the life that you're creating currently, meaning you're just telling yourself the story that all of what you're doing does not really depend on you. Now, whenever you believe that to be true, that all of what you're doing does not depend on you, then no matter what you do, no matter how much you transition, you may not really get the balance that you're looking for. because you always keep believing that all of what you're creating is not really within your control, that everyone else somehow um, decides on what you can and cannot do. So that's why what we want really is for us all to understand, why are we believing that what we have currently is not really within our control, right? Because if we think that this is what we have now is not within our control, then it's difficult to have something or create something new even after transitioning, because we will likely to believe that not everything is within our control. And that's true that not everything is within our control, but where we work, what work we do, um, how we live our lives, usually within our control, unless of course you are in a war zone like I am in now, in Ukraine, even though the situation where I am now, good that I can control things, but you know what I mean? So it's rare, or it's usually in emergency situations, maybe a lot of things are not within our control, but usually when we live our lives, we decided to work there, we decided to take up this contract, we decided to make this our central part of our lives, even though unconsciously maybe, but we have still created those results. So now that we understand that what we're creating currently is actually what we're creating, then we want to ask ourselves, well, if we don't like it, how are we going to change? Right? So basically, three stages question that you can coach yourself on it. So the first question you can ask yourself is why you keep agreeing to what you have now, whatever it is. So if your situation is that you're having difficulty balancing work and life, you can ask yourself why you keep agreeing to this. And then once you have your answer, then you can say, okay, if you're creating what you're creating now, how do you want to go about it? And what needs to happen in order for you to change it? And sometimes things can be very simple, but we may have this set of beliefs about work-life balance that somehow someone else needs to help us make this happen. Maybe, yes, it does. Maybe there are structural things that needs to change, right? Systematic things need to change. Absolutely, I don't argue with it, but those things take time, and those things actually also need our contribution. So therefore, every one of us may be needing to contribute to make that change. In order to do that, every one of us needs to make our own choices, no matter what the outside circumstances are, right? So that's why I just think that the best way you could go about doing it is by you realizing that you are in charge of changing whatever you want to change if you want to. You can also do that within your current circumstances where you don't even need to change or move jobs or move locations or whatever. You can just decide to make the changes necessary within the environment where you are. Because Vicky and I, our goal and our goal of doing these sessions and these lives, I'm just advocating basically for a life where we no longer think of our jobs as a compartmentalized, this a separate thing that is not like an obstacle for us, and we just need to deal with this obstacle in order to get by in life, right? We don't want that type of life. We want the life, we are advocating basically for the life where we are using or looking at our jobs as part of our lives that is aligned with our lives of what we want, and it's no longer a source of drainage and exhaustion and difficulty, but it's source of inspiration, source of creativity, source of fulfillment, source of energy, source of wanting to do whatever we want, creating whatever we want, while having all the other life that we want as well. That's the purpose of our doing all of these sessions. And therefore, if we are fixated on this concept of um, I have to have this balance, I cannot have this work life balance, just question your own brain to see what are the beliefs that you're holding to be true about yourself and about your life and about your work, and whether those beliefs are serving you. You know, beliefs are like you have that balance, whatever that means. You have to have others to help you with it, and you cannot do it on your own, or you have to leave your work currently in order to have this. Whatever the beliefs are, you want to question them. And the questioning can always start with the simple question of why are you agreeing to your current situation where you are now? And if you don't want to, how do you want to change? So, if you would like help on this, as I said, please let me know or let Vicky know about it, and we're happy to offer you coaching. In the meantime, I wish you an amazing Thursday and then the Friday and the weekend. And I just want to say greetings from Ukraine. Thank you, lovelies. Talk to you next Thursday.